round 4. I haven't done this in a while, man. I'm running out of space on my camera, so this film, like, this guy Watkins, he's the guy that did Eden Lake. Remember, I said I liked Eden Lake. Okay, I mean, I thought what was in it was of course, a low T guy like this, and then you see a guy like this, and he looks like a man. This is an actor, James McAvoy, right? He plays a guy named Paddy, so it's very British, right? And it's just interesting in terms of in a case of where someone will observe something from like the backward, from like going backwards on something that we all know and realize or did at one point, and discover it as we have deconstructed it, only after we have deconstructed it. So let me go here. So apparently, the original was about the original Danish couple meet a Dutch couple on holiday, right, on vacation, what they call vacation, and they go to the home, and a series of microaggressions, odd behavior, and you see the Dutch duo are like start to become very abusive, and then become like, I guess it becomes like a thriller, right? So that's interesting. The freaking Dutch, man, those Dutch people, bro. Poor Danish. Anyway, but so one of the things that's interesting is the Danes are uptight and the Dutch are a little more libidinous and loose. The two countries share common language. Here, two countries share common language. So I get deeper into the theme of how Brits and Americans are subtly different. The UK, when Paddy, the real British guy or English guy. Hey man, every 1/3 or more of all the cool British people that I respect, in whatever, in entertainment, literature, they all turn out to have Irish grandparents. Anyway, so, and this is a king where, of course, now also like the American couple visiting. What kind of Americans would visit England normally, or Europe? Okay, upper middle class bourgeois people, soft people, like the British couple in Eden Lake visiting, going up in the Lake District or wherever they were. And probably similar to this chap. You're not putting you down, but that's the kind of people who normally make movies. And I thought it was interesting here. And I'm not ripping on the dude either. So I mean, I have no interest to see in a world where violence and death and the night of the machetes is coming, the machete virus. I'm sick of seeing guys that look like this as the fucking villains. I don't know. Call me nuts. When you have people killing women and children for a fucking year, and you don't even dare approach this in the pages of this magazine. He goes, and I think I covered this. They had this in the Fango. I want to build on these anxieties of politeness and how you deal with them. I thought, if that politeness that is embedded in the film can be seen as a means of escape or sort of protection. They're trying to polite their way out of the situation, but at what point does that break down, right? The idea of politeness. Well, you're coming at it from backwards. Why does things like politeness or manners exist? I remember there was a German commenter on some video, a German who's been living in America for a couple of years, and they made a friggin' spot-on statement about Americans. Okay, Americans are very polite, right? But underlying that, the reason brought up that Americans are polite, and not all, a lot of Americans aren't, but I'm just saying a lot of the politeness comes from the fact that Americans are very wary of each other, becoming belligerent and violent at any moment, okay, within the group, and also from what the subtext of I keep mentioning, who is doing most of the violence in this country, okay? And so the man is coming backwards. Well, politeness, why does politeness exist? It exists so that you don't fucking kill each other over a little slight, okay? That's why politeness exists, okay? You'll be polite around barbarians, won't you? Because if you're not, and they'll cleave your head in, like they rolled Robert E. Howard letter to Lovecraft. So anyway, I'm gonna spend a lot of time on that. There's 3 films from this writer director. Now, of course, you can make films a lot cheaper now with video. So, but to have 3 films at the same time, very edgy, man, very cutting edge. Let's look at the films here, right? Oh, look how brave and edgy these films are, right? There's a pastor and a gay teenager in his charge where he's doing conversion therapy on him. Oh man, dude, what a rebel. So it's funny how the conversion therapy. It's not like they grabbed them off the street and dragged them into the asylum or something. They're making this illegal, whereas actual physically converting the gender of the young person is well and fine, funded and promoted. Right? Amazing. You know, and all these sinful priests, they're sinful. You know, we go over here. The next one, Wolves Against the World. Okay, the title refers to a Nazi metal band. Well, because there's a ton of those, right? So when he finds a new Reich of white supremacists that inflict their toxic masculinity on society, man, you are fighting the power, dude. Dude. What an edgy film! This is the brave film that we need in this time. So, and the last one here is a slasher. Guess what? This slasher film. Guess what it does? Promising idea is, in the second half, nicely subvert the traditional slasher cinema male-female roles. Man, this dude is just the amount of rebelliousness I'm seeing, the amount of edginess, the amount of really going after the things that are really, really, in front of you, that are just the horrors of this society that's rapidly declining. It's amazing how everyone is making movies about that, about those things, the Catholics, Nazis, and making switching. Hey, we switched the gender roles, man. This is dude, the courage to do this. I can't. It's, we need these rebels, man. We need to fight this system, and luckily these young creative people are doing just that. Okay, we're exploring things that have never been explored before in films, man. I'm not gonna read it. They show this on TV all the time. Look what happened to Rosemary's Baby, right? When the baby becomes like Alice Cooper dude or something. They show this on TV all the friggin' time. Right, this guy's always funny because he's always like, oh, influencers and misinformation. He's like, fucking. All right, so now the comics here. I'm only normally I tell you the horror comics today are probably the most they're horrific, but not in the way that we want them to be. So now they're bringing up EC Comics again. So Oni Press, they're still around. Jeez. And of course, fast forward a couple years, I'm the publisher of Oni, the publisher of the most banned book in America, 2019's genderqueer memoir. Oh, you're so brave and edgy, dude. So that's why you could buy it easily in a bookstore. Oh wait, you mean the school curriculum didn't think it was appropriate to have it in its thing for children? Oh man, fucking this. They're gonna burn the books again. What books are they burning? So please. And of course we see what's going on here. Oh, the original EC was very subversive, right? So we have no shortage of phobias and anxieties. Everything from existential crises, right? Is the planet going to burn up in an uninhabitable cinder over the course of the next century? Climate change. The night of the machetes is coming. Fuck, can't worry about that bloody fucking cinder planet. The planet will be fine, right? Or once again, where people are getting killed in eating establishments. Is someone going to walk into the ice cream shop and open fire? Most likely he's going to walk into the Chinese house. With my duck sauce at, oh, man, I'm triggering people. This might be it. Dude, I think we're going to get the strike. Okay. Is there room for subversive and controversial stories in today's politically sensitive atmosphere? Oh man, I know you guys. Oh man, somehow you'll fight against the Republicans and the right wing, the theocracy, and get this out somehow. Oh man, I just love it, man. It's so hilarious. I'll go to this. What is this? London Horror Comics. It looks like a female John Constantine. But the cover looks nice. This is interesting right here. The most debate. This is something actually. Now it's probably gonna suck, right? When you look at the feminist interpretation of Medea, right? But Medea, right? Clemenstra, some of the women back in the Greek tragedies, and which are Greek tragedies are always based in the mythologies too. Medea is a fascinating character. Okay, the Robinson Jeffers adaptation of the Euripides play. Okay, which is funny they don't mention Euripides in here, but okay, that's the most famous representation of Medea. But she, Jason and the Argonauts, she's linked to Jason. And what happens? Okay, right? Jason She betrays her people. She kills her brother, betrays her father, goes with Jason, right, back to Corinth. And then Jason has children with her, but then Jason decides to marry a younger woman over her, right? And she gets vindictive of it, and she gets bitter. Okay, is she the victim or the monster? Well, she's both. I mean, what she does is horrific, monstrous. I mean, those Euripides plays would be some really good horror films if you think about it. Right? But yeah, it's just interesting to see this character, and it's separate from this comic. I'm sure it's just like but Medea, the Robinson Jeffers Medea, man. I always recommend that. There's like a video, early '80s video thing of that. I think there's another one of it. I would recommend it, man. It is truly like horrific, but it's great. Interesting story. In terms of the feminine, right? The dark side of the feminine is brought up in it. So, and the idea of killing your children. Now, I'm gonna leave this on that. I don't want to get all controversial, believe it or not. Okay, the idea of killing your children is a horrific, anti-human thing, but it happens frequently, right? And it has happened on a scale in this country in this century like you haven't ever seen. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. That topic I'm not even going to discuss because I have different opinions on it than most, I guess you'd say right-leaning conservative people. But it is interesting to see that, right under your noses, that you could make horror films about that thing, right? Terminating your pregnancy. You could make horror films about that. I know Carpenter did. But you could do it from the other perspective, and I feel not in a Christian didactic way either. Just the idea of how horrific it is in and of itself, regardless of the consequences for what it would mean. Okay, which I'm not going to discuss here. Oh, now I'm not. Now you shut your mouth, huh? So we'll finish it out with the books. Do you like books? You read books? You're a creepy man. So this here, the Monk. I started reading this. I didn't get a chance to finish this. Gregory Lewis, The Monk, right? One of the Gothic novels. Lovecraft mentions it in supernatural horror and literature. It's right here too. Like the book does this. They do a switch here, right? He seeks to correct what he sees as this earlier book about him. Right? That Never Married Lewis was a homosexual. Of course, he does not shy away from guessing his role as a slave owner. He inherited a pair of Jamaican sugar plantations following his father's death. Well, that was his fault, right? Inheriting that. It's funny. The controversies of the past. Now, this book, look at this, man. Videotapes file. It's basically what I mentioned, what I like. The art boxes, the covers of the VHS boxes collected in a big book, in a huge, coffee table book. Jaws. Oh, why are these the two that you ripped the heads off of? Don't tell Spielberg. And the rest is just I gotta wrap this up real quick. I'll end it up with the music real quick. This band is a death metal band called Fulci, right? Sort of, I guess, in the vein of Mortician, where they have these samples, and they did a fucking an album based on the New York Ripper. Whoa. I'll tell you one thing, man. The Fulci films they had on VHS, those were never edited, man. Those were full in the VHS store. They were uncut. And New York Ripper is pretty nasty film. So it's interesting, to do a thing on it, one of his more nasty films. It doesn't get the respect of like all his zombie stuff. But you see, and this is the epitome of Rue Morgue, right? However, opening your record with a less than sympathetic sample is a death metal. Titling a track "Fucked with a Broken Bottle," right? Seems to chime slightly too well with the misogyny prevalent in the source material. Right. It's savage and satisfying, but ultimately hard to recommend if you've ever cared about a human being who doesn't have a penis. It's a fucking death metal band singing about a horrible horror movie. I'm sure the guys, I'm sure that they don't believe in any of this stuff. Come on already. You gotta stop. No, they're not. No, we're not gonna stop. Why would we stop when we're winning? Shit, you good point. Rue Morgue. Yeah. You know what? I got more out of this than I thought. Thank you.